The testaments of the 12 Patriarchs. The testament of Yahawada, the testament of Judah, the fourth son of Jacob and Leah. The copy of the words of Judah, what things he spake to his sons before he died. They gathered themselves together, therefore, and came to him. And he said to them, Hearken, my children, to Judah your father. I was the fourth son, born to my father Jacob. And Leah, my mother, named me Judah, saying, I give thanks to the Mighty One, because he has given me a fourth son also. I was swift in my youth, and obedient to my father in everything. And I honored my mother and my mother's sister. And it came to pass when I became a man that my father blessed me, saying, You shall be a king, prospering in all things. And the Mighty One showed me favor in all my works, both in the field and in the house. I know that I raised the hind and caught it, and prepared the meat for my father, and he did eat. And the roes I used to master in the chase, and overtake all that was in the plains. A wild mare I overtook, and caught it, and tamed it. I slew a lion, and plucked a kid out of his mouth. I took a bear by its paw, and hurled it down the cliff, and it was crushed. I outran the wild boar, and seizing it as I ran, I tear it in sunder. A leopard in Hebron leaped upon my dog, and I caught it by the tail, and hurled it on the rocks, and it was broken in twain. I found a wild ox feeding in the fields, and seizing it by the horns, and whirling it round and stunning it, I cast it from me and slew it. And when the two kings of the Canaanites came, sheathed in armor against our flocks, and much people with them, single-handed, I rushed upon the king of Hazor, and smote him on the greaves, and dragged him down, and so I slew him. And the other, the king of Tappuah, as he sat upon his horse, I slew, and so I scattered all these people. I called the king, a man of giant stature, I found hurling javelins, and behind, as he sat on horseback. And I took up a stone of 60 pounds weight, and hurled it, and smote his horse, and killed it. And I fought with these other two for 2 hours, and I clave his shield in twain, and I chopped off his feet, and killed him. And as I was stripping off his breastplate, behold, 9 men, his companions, began to fight with me. And I wound my garment on my head, and I slung stones at them, and killed 4 of them, and the rest fled. And Yaakov my father slew Belesar, king of all the kings, a giant in strength, 12 cubits high. And fear fell upon them, and they ceased warring against us. Therefore my father was free from anxiety in the wars when I was with my brethren. For he saw in a vision concerning me that an angel of might followed me everywhere, that I should not be overcome. And in the south there came upon us a greater war than that in Shechem. And I joined in battle array with my brethren, and pursued 1,000 men, and slew of them 200 men, and 4 kings. And I went upon the wall, and I slew 4 mighty men. And so we captured Hazor, and took all the spoil. On the next day we departed to Aritan, a city strong and walled and inaccessible, threatening us with death. But I and Gad approached on the east of the city, and Reuben and Levi on the west. And they that were upon the wall, thinking that we were alone, were drawn down against us. And so my brothers secretly climbed up the wall on both sides by stakes, and entered the city, while the men knew it not. And we took the city with the edge of the sword. And as for those who had taken refuge in the tower, we set fire to the tower, and took both the tower and them. And as we were departing, the men of Tappuah seized our spoil, and seeing this, we fought with them, and we slew them all, and recovered our spoil. And when I was at the waters of Kozeba, the men of Jobel came against us to battle, and we fought with them and routed them, and their allies from Shiloh we slew, and we did not leave them power to command against us. And the men of Machir came upon us the 5th day to seize our spoil. And we attacked them and overcame them in fierce battle. For there was a host of mighty men amongst them, and we slew them before they had gone up the ascent. And when we came to their city, their women rolled upon us stones from the brow of the hill on which the city stood. And I and Simeon hid ourselves behind the town, and seized upon the heights, and destroyed this city also. And the next day it was told to us that the king of the city of Gash with a mighty host was coming against us. I, therefore, and Dan fanned ourselves to the Amorites, and as allies went into their city. And in the depth of night our brethren came, and we opened to them the gates, and we destroyed all the men and their substance. And we took for a prey all that was theirs. And their 3 walls we cast down. And we drew near to Tamar, where was all the substance of the hostile kings. Then being insulted by them, I was therefore wroth, and I rushed against them to the summit, and they kept slinging against me stones and darts. And had not Dan my brother aided me, they would have slain me. We came upon them, therefore, with wrath, and they all fled. And passing by another way, they besought my father, and he made peace with them. And we did to them no hurt, and they became tributary to us, and we restored to them their spoil. And I built Tamar, and my father built Rabael. I was 20 years old when this war befell, and the Canaanites feared me and feared my brethren. And I had much cattle, and I had 4 chief herds, Iram the Adullamite. And when I went to him, I saw Barsaba, king of Adullam. And he spake unto us, and he made us a feast. And when I was heated, he gave me his daughter Bathshua to wife. She bare me and Onan and Shelah, and 2 of them the mighty one smote. For Shelah lived, and his children are you. In 18 years my father abode at peace with his brother Esau, and his sons with us. After that, we came from Mesopotamia, from Laban. And when 18 years were fulfilled, in the 40th year of my life, Esau, the brother of my father, came upon us with a mighty and strong people. And Jacob smote Esau with an arrow. And Esau was taken up wounded on Mount Seir. And as he went, he died at Ananiram. And we pursued after the sons of Esau. Now they had a city with walls of iron and gates of brass, and we could not enter into it. And we encamped around and besieged it. And when they opened not to us in 20 days, I set up a ladder in the sight of everyone. And with my shield upon my head, I went up, sustaining the assaults of stones, upwards of 3 talents weight. And I slew 4 of their mighty men. And Reuben and Gad slew 6 others. Then they asked from us terms of peace, and having taken counsel with our father, we received them as tributaries. And they gave us 500 cores of wheat, 500 baths of oil, 500 measures of wine, until the famine, when we went down into Egypt. And after these things, my son took to wife Tamar from Mesopotamia, a daughter of Aram. Now was wicked, and he was in need concerning Tamar, because she was not of the land of Canaan. And on the third night, an angel of the Mighty One smote her, and he had not known her according to the evil craftiness of his mother, for he did not wish to have children by her. In the days of the wedding feast, I gave Onan to her in marriage, and he also in wickedness knew her not, though he spent with her a year. And when I threatened him, he went in unto her, but he spilled the seed on the ground, according to the command of his mother, and he also died through wickedness. And I wished to give Shelah also to her, but his mother did not permit it, for she wrought evil against Tamar, because she was not of the daughters of Canaan, as she also herself was. And I knew that the race of the Canaanites was wicked, but the impulse of youth blinded my mind. And when I saw her pouring out wine, owing to the intoxication of wine was I deceived, and took her, although my father had not counseled it. And while I was away, she went and took for Shelah a wife from Canaan. And when I knew what she had done, I cursed her in the anguish of my soul. And she also died through her wickedness, together with her sons. And after these things, while Tamar was a widow, she heard after 2 years that I was going up to shear my sheep. She adorned herself in bridal array and sat in the city of Enaim by the gate. For it was a law of the Amorites that she, who was about to marry, should sit in fornication 7 days by the gates. Therefore, being drunk with wine, I did not recognize her, and her beauty deceived me through the fashion of her adorning. And I turned aside to her and said, "Let me go in to you." And she said, "What will you give me?" And I gave her my staff and my girdle. I gave her my diadem of my kingdom in pledge. And I went in unto her, and she conceived. And not knowing what I had done, wished to slay her. But she privily sent my pledges and put me to shame. And when I called her, I heard also the secret words which I spoke when lying with her in my drunkenness. And I could not slay her, because it was from the Mighty One. For I said, lest haply she did it in subtlety, having received the pledge from another woman. But I came not again near her while I lived, because I had done this abomination in all Yahudah. Moreover, they who were in the city said that there was no harlot in the gate, because she came from another place and sat for a while in the gate. And I thought that no one knew that I had gone in unto her. And after this we came into Egypt to Joseph because of the famine. And I was 46 years old, and 73 years lived I in Egypt. And now I command you, my children, hearken to Yahawada, hearken to Judah your father, and keep my sayings to perform all the ordinances of the great I am, loving kindness, and to obey the commands of Yahuwah, and walk not after your lusts, nor in the imaginations of your thoughts, in haughtiness of heart, and glory not in the deeds and strength of your youth. For this also is evil in the eyes of the Mighty One. Since I also gloried that in wars no comely woman's face ever enticed me, and reproved Reuben my brother concerning Bilhah, the wife of my father. The spirits of jealousy and the spirit of fornication arrayed themselves against me, until I lay with Bathshua the Canaanite, and Tamar, who was espoused to my sons. For I said to my father-in-law, I will take counsel with my father, and so would I take thy daughter. And he was unwilling, but he showed me a boundless store of gold in his daughter's behalf, for he was a king. And he adorned her with gold and pearls, and caused her to pour out wine for us at the feast with the beauty of women. And the wine turned aside my eyes, and pleasure blinded my heart. And I became enamored of her, and I lay with her, and transgressed the commandment of the Mighty One, and transgressed the commandment of my fathers. And I took her to wife. And the Mighty One rewarded me according to the imagination of my heart. And as much as I had no joy in her children. And now, my children, I say unto you, be not drunk with wine, for wine turns the mind away from the truth. Wine inspires the passion of lusts and leads the eyes into error. For the spirit of fornication has wine as a minister to give pleasure to the mind. For these two also take away the mind of men. For if a man drink wine to drunkenness, it disturbs the mind with filthy thoughts, leading to fornication, and heats the body to carnal union. And if the occasion of the lust be present, he works the sin and is not ashamed. Such is the inebriated man, my children. For he who is drunken reverences no men. For lo, it made me also to err, so that I was not ashamed of the multitude in the city, in that before the eyes of all I turned aside unto Tamar, and I wrought a great sin, and I uncovered the covering of my son's shame. After I had drunk wine, I reverenced not the commandment of the Mighty One, and I took a woman of Canaan to wife. For much discretion needs the man who drinks wine, my children, and herein is discretion in drinking wine. A man may drink so long as he preserves modesty. But if he go beyond this limit, the spirit of deceit attacks his mind, and it makes the drunkard to talk filthily and to transgress, and not to be ashamed, but even to glory in his shame, and account himself honorable. He that commits fornication is not aware when he suffers loss, and is not ashamed when he put to dishonor. For even though a man be a king and commit fornication, he is stripped of his kingship by becoming the slave of fornication, as I myself also suffered. For I gave my staff, that is the stay of my tribe. I gave my girdle, that is my power. I gave my diadem, that is the glory of my kingdom. And I indeed repented of these things. Wine and flesh I eat not until my old age, nor did I behold any joy. And the angel of the Mighty One showed me that forever do women bear rule over king and beggar alike. And from the king they take away his glory, and from the valiant men they take away his might, and from the beggar they take away even that little which is the stay of his poverty. Observe, therefore, my children, the right limit in wine. For there are in wine 4 evil spirits of lust, of hot desire, of profligacy, of filthy lucre. If you drink wine in gladness, be modest with the reverence of the Mighty One. For if in your gladness you reverence the Mighty One, the reverence of the Mighty One departs, then drunkenness arises, and shamelessness steals in. But if you would live soberly, do not touch wine at all, lest you sin in words of outrage, and in fightings, and slanders, and transgressions of the commandments of the Mighty One, and you perish before your time. Moreover, wine reveals the mysteries of the Mighty One and men, even as I also reveal the commandments of the Mighty One and the mysteries of Jacob my father to the Canaanites, to the Canaanitish woman Bathsheba, which the Mighty One bade me not to reveal. And wine is a cause for both war and fornication, war and confusion. And now I command you, my children, not to love money, nor to gaze upon the beauty of women, because for the sake of money and beauty I was led astray to Bathsheba the Canaanite. For I know that because of these 2 things shall my race fall into wickedness. For even wise men among my sons shall they mar, and shall cause the kingdom of Yahawada to be diminished, which the Mighty One gave me because of my obedience to my father. For I never caused grief to Jacob my father. For all things whatsoever he commanded I did. And Isaac, the father of my father, blessed me to be the king in Yasharal, in Yahawada. And Jacob further blessed me in the same manner. And I know that for me shall the kingdom be established. For I also read in the books of Enoch the righteous what evils you will do in the last days. Beware, therefore, my children, of fornication, and beware of the love of money, and hearken to Yahawada your father. For these things will draw you from the law of the Mighty One, and blind the inclination of the soul, and teach arrogance, and suffer not a man to have compassion upon his neighbor. They rob his soul of all goodness, and oppress him with toils and troubles. and drive away sleep from him, and devour his flesh. And he hinders the sacrifices of the mighty one, and he remembers not the blessing of the mighty one. He hearkens not to a prophet when he speaks, and resents the words of godliness. For he is a slave to two contrary passions, and cannot obey the great I am loving kindness, because they have blinded his soul, and he walks in the day as in the night. My children, the love of money leads to idolatry, because when led astray through money, men name as gods those who are not gods, and it causes him who has it to fall into madness. For the sake of money, I lost my children, and had not my repentance and my humiliation and the prayers of my father been accepted, I should have died childless. But the power of my fathers had mercy on me, because I did it in ignorance. And the prince of deceit blinded me, and I was ignorant as a man, and as flesh, being corrupted through sins. And I learned my own weakness while thinking myself invincible. Know therefore, my children, that two spirits wait upon men: the spirit of truth and the spirit of deceit. And in the midst is the spirit of the overstanding of the mind, to which it belongs to turn wheresoever it will. And the works of truth and the works of deceit are written upon the hearts of men, and each one of them the mighty one knows. And there is no time at which the works of men can be hid. For on the heart itself have they been written down before the mighty one. And the spirit of truth testifies all things, and accuses all. And the sinner is burnt by his own heart, and cannot raise his face to the judge. And now, my children, I command you, love Levi, that you may abide, and exhort not yourselves against him, lest you be utterly destroyed. For to me, the mighty one gave the kingdom, and to Levi the priesthood. And he set the kingdom beneath the priesthood. To me, he gave the things upon the earth. To him, the things in the heavens. As the heaven is higher than the earth, so is the priesthood of the mighty one higher than the earthly kingdom, unless he falls away through sin from the mighty one, and is dominated by the earthly kingdom. For the angel of the Mighty One said unto me, the Mighty One chose him rather than you to draw near to him and to eat of his table and to offer him the first fruits of the church things of the sons of Yahawah. But you shall be king of Yehuda, but you shall be king of Jacob. And you shall be amongst them as the sea. For as on the sea, just and unjust are tossed about, some taken into captivity, while some are enriched, so also shall every race of men be in you. So shall be impoverished, being taken captive, and others grow rich by plundering the possessions of others. For the kings shall be as sea monsters. They shall swallow men like fishes. The sons and daughters of free men shall they enslave. Houses, lands, flocks, money shall they plunder. And with the flesh of many shall they wrongfully feed the ravens and the cranes. And they shall advance in evil, in covetousness uplifted. And there shall be false prophets like the tempests, and they shall persecute all righteous men. And the Mighty One shall bring upon them divisions, one against another. And there shall be continual wars in Yahawah, and among men of another race shall my kingdom be brought to an end, until the salvation of the Yahudims shall come, until the appearing of the power of righteousness, that Jacob and all the Gentiles may rest in peace. And he shall guard the might of my kingdom forever. For the Mighty One sware to me with an oath that he would not destroy the kingdom for my seed forever. Now, I have much grief, my children, because of your lewdness and witchcrafts and idolatries, which you shall practice against the kingdom, following them that have familiar spirits, diviners, and demons of error. You shall make your daughters singing girls and harlots, and you shall mingle in the abominations of the Gentiles. For which things' sake the Mighty One shall bring upon you famine and pestilence, death and the sword, beleaguering by enemies, and revilings of friends, the slaughter of children, the rape of wives, the plundering of possessions, the burnings of the temple of the Mighty One, the laying waste of the land, the enslavement of yourselves among the Gentiles. And they shall make some of you eunuchs for their wives, until you turn unto the Mighty One with perfect heart, repenting and walking in all the commandments of the Mighty One. And the Most High visit you with mercy and bring you up from captivity among the Gentiles. And after these things shall a star rise to you from Jacob in peace. And a man shall arise from my seed, like the Son of righteousness, walking with the sons of men in meekness and righteousness. And the heavens shall be opened unto him, and the blessings of the Holy Father will pour down upon him, and he will pour down upon us the Spirit of grace, and you shall be his true children by adoption, and you shall walk in his commandments first and last. Then a branch shall go forth for me, and the scepter of my kingdom shall shine forth, and from your root shall arise a stem, and from the stem shall go up the rod of righteousness unto the Gentiles, to judge and to save all that call upon the Mighty One. And after these things shall Abraham and Isaac and Jacob arise unto life, and I and my brethren shall be chiefs of the tribes of Yasharal. Levi first, I the second, Joseph third, Benjamin fourth, Simeon fifth, Issachar sixth, and so all in order. And the Mighty One blessed Levi, and the angel of the presence blessed me. And the powers of glory, Simeon, the heaven, Reuben, the earth, Issachar, the sea, Zebulun, the mountains, Joseph, the tabernacle, Benjamin, the luminaries, Dan, Eden, Naphtali, the sun, Gad, the moon, Asher. And you shall be the people of the Mighty One, and you shall have one tongue, and there shall be there no spirit of deceit, no spirit of Beliar, for he shall be cast into the fire forever. And they who have died in grief shall arise in joy, and they who were poor for the Mighty One's sake shall be made rich, and they who are put to death for the Mighty One's sake shall awake to life, and the hearts of Jacob shall run in joyfulness, and the eagles of Yasharal shall fly in gladness, and all the peoples shall glorify the Mighty One forever. Observe therefore, my children, all the law of the Mighty One, for there is hope for all them who hold fast unto his ways. And he said to them, Behold, I died before your eyes this day, 119 years old. Let no one bury me in costly apparel, nor tear open my bowels. For this shall they do who our kings do, and carry me up to Hebron with you. And Yahawada and Judah, when he had said these things, fell asleep, and his sons did according to whatsoever he commanded them, and they buried him in Hebron with his fathers. We're giving all honor and praises to the Most High Yahuwah, the great I am, loving kindness, the holy great one, the power of the Yahudims. Yah Shalom, family.